Hello, my loyal following, all 5 of you. It is day 6 and it is Saturday, and I am just getting ready to head back home. Saturday is one of the best days of the week, probably not, or at least for me, not for why you're thinking. Oh, got some rage kicking it back here. Turn that down a little bit. Oh, I'm not a cameraman. So it is Saturday and I am wrapping up some things up at the office this morning. About to hit the best part of the week. And again, Saturday is not the best part of the week for me because I get to stay up later, because I get to party, because I get to drink. Now, sometimes that happens and I don't mind that one little bit. Of course, until the next morning. I'm gonna set my phone down while I pack up my bag here. See if I can keep myself in view a little bit, straighten it up. Anyway, Saturday is, really Saturday, Sunday, my absolute most favorite days of the week because I get to get up early, same time as I do on a weekday at 5 a.m. Get up to the office. I get to have a moment of clarity without the pressure, so to speak, of the day or a weekday rolling right in. I get to come up here and get 3 hours of focused work in where I really get ahead, have my thoughts clear before I get to go home and spend the day with my girls. You see, I talked about time creation and schedule management and all that stuff yesterday, and the fact is we all have the same 24 hours, right? Well, I've got the same 24 hours as you. I may be able to produce more than you. You may be able to produce more than me. But we can create time, and we can have everything that we want, desire, and quite frankly deserve if we're smart with our time. So Saturdays are awesome for me because I was up here this morning and I actually got an entire sales funnel built around my roofing contracting business specific for me so that I can reach more people and cut through more market obscurity to make certain that I'm helping as many people as possible. Making sure I got all my stuff for the day. If you follow or watch me on any type of social media, you'll hear me constantly talk about value, bringing more value to the market because, you know, I truly do believe, gotta grab a couple things out of my closet here. I truly believe 100% it's not a sales pitch. It's not a, oh, I'm just saying this to get more business and make more money. That's a component of it, don't get me wrong. But I truly believe that the more value I can bring to people, I and my companies can bring to people, the more wealth I will create. The more wealth I will create for myself, the more wealth I will create for my customers, and the more wealth I will create for my team. And wealth, a big component of it is money, but it's not every part of it, sorry. It is not every single piece to the puzzle. You see, wealth has to do with time. Wealth has to do with money. Wealth has to do with happiness. Wealth has to do with peace of mind. Wealth has to do with family. These are all components of wealth, and I believe that we deserve it, we should have it, and we should push forward with every ounce of energy we have to achieve and to have that wealth, as well as be able to bless others. So that sales funnel I was talking about is just more and more an effort to get my name out to as many people as possible, because I truly believe that in working directly with me and my companies, that I can provide more value than the other guy. And that brings me to one of the things that's kind of actually frustrating me today. I've been bidding on this big project, right? It's a big commercial roofing project. And maybe frustrating is a harsh word for it. But you know, cutting through the obscurity of bidding is a difficult thing because it's one thing if you're bidding, you know, selling somebody a pair of shoes, right? I don't know who bids selling somebody a pair of shoes, but if you're bidding some simple thing, one little thing that is cut and dry, there's only one way to skin the theoretical cat there. But it's a very different thing. See, I'm grabbing all my bags so you guys can listen to me huff and puff here. It's a very different thing when you're talking about a 6-figure or 7-figure commercial roof and or big landscape install that's multifaceted with manufacturer warranties, 30 term or 30-year term plus warranties, that any moving part of this bid can sway the number by $50,000 at a minimum. And so, a lot of the times the biggest issue we face, or I face, when bidding projects is not, getting out there, getting the bid opportunity. It's cutting through the obscurity as to what value is in my bid versus the other guys, right? What is he including in the whole apples to apples conversation when you hear customers say, I'm getting more than one bid because I want to be bidding apples to apples? Well, man, no matter how hard you try to bid apples to apples, there's no such thing. And I get the fact that money is money, right? I'm not saying that somebody should buy my service that's $100,000 more than the other, all because of this intrinsic value of working with Andrew. What I'm talking about is cold hard costs and cold hard expenditures and true value, not intrinsic value, and differences in bids. So what I'm finding more and more is, first of all, your network is your net worth, right? You've got to network with the right people. You've got to have the relationships in place, but also being, I forgot something at the office. I got to turn around. Being a better educator and a better informer than anybody else can help cut through market obscurity. And that's what my hope is for this bid that I'm working on right now. See, I laid out a good, better, best proposal for it and did my damnedest to detail every single thing that I was including, because when you get to this level of bidding commercial projects of this size, there's only so much margin that any one person can put in it. And a lot of us are dealing with the same material manufacturers, sometimes even the same installers, not on this one, but on some, the same installers. And so, barring just straight greed by me or somebody else who just packs an ungodly amount of profit into the project, your costs and your pricing is likely the same if you're bidding the same components. And so what I've done is put this good, better, best bid situation together, and I really hope that by communicating clearly each piece of the puzzle, that buys me the opportunity, if and when my bid is higher or lower, to help the money and the value be communicated. And what do I mean by that? Let me make sure I'm in park here. What I mean by that is that, man, if we're bidding on price and price alone, then nobody wins in that scenario. That's a race to the bottom, right? The contractor doesn't win. I'll flip on some lights here. The contractor doesn't win because they're constantly scared that if they're not the cheapest person in the room, that they're not going to get the job. So therefore, they push their pricing down, down, down as cheap as possible just to get the business. And then they end up doing bad work, right? Because they were scared they weren't going to get it. Therefore, they suppress their pricing and they get it so low that they can't perform. That puts them in the mouse and the maze paradigm. If you've ever read my blog at NLSP, man, I am falling apart this morning. Where are my keys at? If you've ever read some of my blogs on LSP, the mouse and the maze paradigm is one of the worst spots a contractor can get stuck in, and I've gotten stuck there plenty of times. And a lot of that has to do, one of the starting points is bidding jobs so inexpensively because you're terrified that you won't get it because all the person is looking at is the money. Now, I want to go back again and say, I'm not proposing that consumers should just buy the most expensive thing because I say it's the best. I'm not saying that whatsoever. But what I am hoping is that in this scenario here, while I may not be the cheapest, if I provide the most information to the property owner, I'll have an opportunity to walk him through exactly what I've bid. And it's not just a bunch of bids going into a dark room with a few people just trying to figure out who's the cheapest person and how do we save the most amount of money on this. So kind of took a bunny trail there. The thing is, when I get to talking to you guys, I don't operate like I normally do. Don't do my normal checkpoints. Forget my shit, so I have to run all around. But going back to that story on this deal, the worst place a contractor, a homeowner, a property manager can get caught is this apples to apple world that doesn't exist, right? I hope more and more by working with more of you guys in the service industry and more property owners, if I'm catching any of you guys on here, that I can help communicate my vision and communicate the fact that, you know, looking at dollars are dollars, that matters. It 100% matters. But when you're working with somebody, if you're a contractor, provide as much information as possible rather than bidding on the low number, and then communicate frequently about what you've included, right? And what the other guy may or may not be including, and make certain that prospect or person that you're bidding to knows that you can basically get there. You can get most likely to the number, so long as there's an open and honest conversation about what the other guy is including. So sell on value, put the most value in there first. And you know, my target with this one right here, I want this guy to buy from me before we even discuss pricing. So I absolutely hate having to send in pricing on a project where there's 4 or 5 people bidding it and not have any way to articulate, talk to them in person and communicate the value, because my goal would be, let me sell you on me. Let me sell you on my company. Here's why we're best, the best. Here's what we're gonna do. Here's our warranty packages we can offer. And let's talk budget later, because the fact of the matter is, the way this roof performs long-term is what matters, right? We can get the money in line. What matters is, who are you gonna be dealing with, and who's gonna provide the service, and who do you like hanging out with, and who do you trust, and who do you all these things. So I hope that this little conversation and letting you guys in on something that I'm working on now, this is a constant struggle for me. You know, I'm able to always get the ones where I can communicate the value. But when it's a pitch black room and it's firing off on dollars and dollars alone, I find myself a lot of times struggling to get those. And you know, the thing is, I'm never going to be the guy that bids on low dollars or is just trying to be the low bidder, because again, that's a race to the bottom. Everybody loses. The contractor loses because they don't make any money, and when shit goes wrong, they start to go into the red and provide shitty service because they're mad at themselves. And then the property owner loses because they don't get quality work. Now it feeds their thought process, or the stigma that service industry providers, roofers, landscapers are all way down here on the food chain of professionals. You know, they get to feed that, you know, what do you expect? It's just a roofer, it's just a landscaper. But really, they did that to themselves by not taking the time to communicate with the person bidding and just taking low dollars. So, you know, if any of you guys have a objection to this, or you think that I'm wrong in that, or maybe something needs some clarification, I'd like to open that conversation and talk with you about it. Because, you know, again, I'm not saying that you should always take the highest bid, or that, oh, woe is me, I'm so upset because I lost a bid to a low bidder and they should have picked me just because I've got this incredible hair. Just kidding. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, a lot of times we're not bidding apples to apples, and the further we can move away from that rhetoric, that sending an estimate through the mail, assuming that everything is apples to apples because we have spec'd out how this needs to work, that's not happening. And so, you know, I guess my message would be today to property owners, make sure you recognize that. Pick 2 to 3 maximum bidders that you're ready to buy from, because you've vetted them and you know who they are and you know who they come or where they come from. Then once you get the bids, take the time to actually hear. And if you start getting BS and it's just the person can't communicate well why their dollar is what it is, or they can't get to the price, then by all means, go with the bid that is most affordable, that makes sense to your bottom line, and that you understand. But always know that that apples to apples on a piece of paper doesn't exist. And to contractors and people out there who are getting in these bidding situations, try to provide. You've got a better shot at this to get in these deals by being the master communicator over the master price slasher. So I've started out my conversation, talked to you guys about Saturday morning. It is 8:33 a.m. You guys won't see this till afternoon, but I have already this morning reviewed our cash flow projectors. I have put together another funnel for myself to provide more value, more education to the marketplace, so that hopefully I don't get in these situations, or I get in them less and less where I'm bidding on price. I have worked out, I have showered, and I am about to pull up and spend the majority of the day with my girls, Drew and Olivia. Now that is wealth creation. I'll catch you guys on the next one.